This is Radar from the Red Entertainment Blog coming at you with another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations number 179. We're in the new month of December. So this week I was able to watch 6 movies. First one I watched was listed at 78 minutes, but that's what happens with animated movies. The time on the disc on the box is not the length of the movie because the long animated movie no matter how long the animated movie is, credit scenes are pretty long. So the first movie I watched was Scooby-Doo and Crypto original movie. So if you're not familiar with Scooby-Doo, teamed up in the past with the Super Friends because they're from Hanna-Barbera. They're from the same 60s and 70s era. And, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Hawkman, the Doom, the evil bad guys from DC, and you're like, well, it's led by Lex Luthor and all these characters, and you're like, they're trying to tie in, which is what DC animated movies have been doing, like just making standalone movies. And they said, let's take Scooby-Doo, which they did with the Cursed Cowardly Dog in the past. That wasn't great. And they made some directed DVD Scooby-Doo movies that I've seen and talked about here. They decided, let's team up with Crypto, who's another type of dog. Let's have the Scooby Gang figure out how the Justice League disappeared. And Crypto's also there to save the day with Scooby-Doo. And you have Solomon Grundy. Now, obviously, they have Giganta, they have Joker, but apparently Joker used to be in another cartoon back in the day, so he wasn't on Super Friends. Brainiac's ship was there, they didn't show Brainiac. Solomon Grundy, who's on the front. They had Zod and some of the other Kryptonians, which he wasn't a villain on the show. They had like a Bizarro character, but we thought it was Bizarro, but no, it was, Zod with the Vision. So that's a wrong Superman character. Harley Quinn wasn't created until the animated Batman series, but she became so popular. She was in the movie. Obviously, Lex Luthor was in this movie. And it's the same Frank Welker, Greg Griffin, Matthew Litter, Kate Micucci as the Scooby Gang. And then the Tess Mocker, Lex Luthor's assistant. They have a mayor. They had, other people who work. And if you watch this movie, there's so many, cameos and references to DC comic books, to Super Friends, to Scooby-Doo, to Hanna-Barbera that are just scattered throughout the film, and you have to pay close attention to it. But again, they have the usual chasing scene, the music. So it's an enjoyable movie for all ages to watch. If you're fans of DC Comics, you're fans of Scooby-Doo, you're fan of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, it's just a fun ride. My brother was not a big fan of the animation and some of the voice actors, but DC usually does not make a bad movie, and this was pretty darn good. That's all I'm going to tell you. As I said, there's some issues with certain villains being used. And, they showed Flash and Hawkman and other characters, but they didn't speak, but until you save money. Then I watched a movie that comes in about 2 hours and 24 minutes with credits with Stanley Tucci. And there's Naomi Ackie playing Whitney Houston. Nafisa Williams playing her longtime girlfriend. So it's I Didn't Want to Dance with Somebody, the Whitney Houston movie. And I'm someone who knows music. I'm not an expert about pop or R&B music, but I know Whitney Houston songs. I hear them all the time in pop culture, TV shows, and movies and commercials. I know who it is. So I tell you this, I'm okay with sitting through a 2-hour movie when it's, and I said, like an action, adventure, science fiction, superhero movie. Sports movies. Sometimes comedies can be 2 hours and they're pretty funny. But again, biopics, I'm all for those. I want to learn stuff. So interesting things. I didn't know much about her personal life because obviously her music was before I was born and all the things, but obviously got Bobby Brown and they got other famous singers and musicians in this movie and actors. It was pretty cool. Couldn't even recognize Stanley Tucci in this role, but it wasn't bad. It's an enjoyable movie to watch if you're really interested in learning about music history in terms of this character. I'm not an expert, so I can't be like, well, is it accurately factual? Who the hell cares? It's a movie, you watch it, you have fun. Just a little bit too long. Then I needed something that wasn't too long, so I watched Monster High, the movie. And apparently, when Googling the cast, they asked, did I mean Monster High 2? This is similar to the movie Zombies that Disney came out with, where it's a school full of, humans, and do they allow zombies in? And then the movie was werewolves in the second one, I think. This one is Monster High, is only for monsters, pure blood monsters. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde is considered evil. They don't want him ever because he was both. And so this girl's half monster, half human. Her father is a character actor that I've seen before. Like, one of my issues was the vampire's daughter was practicing magic, like sorcery and witchcraft, whatever. But she looks nothing like the father. She's Asian. So it's like, it's not like, oh, she half Asian. She kind of looks, no, it's like 100%. And then the girl playing Frankenstein monster daughter introduced herself as they. Everyone's like accepting each other, even the bullies, all this other stuff. But if you're not a monster, oh, I don't like you. This movie is a typical teenage movie that, preteens can watch because it's not inappropriate. It's like, they say it's not rated, but I feel like it's for kids. It's like a Nickelodeon-based movie. Pretty much, I think most people can watch this. They made fun of social media and smartphone, but they talked about fitting in and all this other stuff. But I don't get how the popular kid who was friends with some of the losers. I don't know. It's okay. It's watchable. It's 80-something minutes. It's silly enough that an adult can watch through it and go, this isn't that stupid. But yeah, it's watchable. So far, I watched 3 watchable movies. Then I watched The Man from Toronto. And apparently, that's the name of every assassin, no matter if it's from Ukraine, Russia, Japan, South Dakota, Alabama, Miami, whatever. They have hitmen from all over the place. So it's a typical Kevin Hart movie where he's out of his depth in his league as a regular common man who's always married or dating someone out of his league. Apparently, he's like an entrepreneur who can never get his ideas working, and he wants to treat his wife to a vacation getaway. And then, unfortunately, the hilarious is they go to the wrong Airbnb cabin. And it turns out they mistake him for an assassin, and he has to pretend to be an assassin in order to escape the bad guy. The FBI's on his trail, all this other stuff. And Woody Harrelson, who I'm not a huge fan of, but I really liked him in that basketball movie, I liked him in this one. It's a Netflix movie. It's also PG-13, so it's not inappropriate, so a lot of people can get access to this movie. Kaylee Cuoco makes an appearance as the friend, and Ellen Barkin is like the handler, and I for a moment thought it was Cameron Diaz, but it's not. But I was like, who's that good-looking blonde woman? Oh, it's this woman. And so Woody Harrelson's like, I've been an assassin, and I'm like, I don't want my name to be tarnished, because look at this short dude. This dude is a joke. His life's a joke. He cannot be an assassin. So he has to step in order to make sure that people know that he's the real man from, Toronto, and he's not this other guy, and the two of them have to work together to escape the FBI and other hired killers. So it's like an action comedy. It's barely an hour and 50 minutes, because that's an hour 40, hour 50 minutes. It's, close to 100-something minutes, and there's some comedy ensuing. And there's some actors that pop up here and there that I've seen before. I just couldn't get their names. And yeah, it's a watchable, fun movie. Netflix seems to be making some of those. Then I watched the Disney movie called Strange World, where it is 2023. So the main actor, who's voiced by Jake Gyllenhaal, is married to the main actress, voiced by Gabrielle Union. His father's Dennis Quaid. They have a little boy. And Lucy Liu is one of the fighters in this movie. And Alan Tudyk and some other people I know who do great voice acting work are also in this movie. It's, again, rated PG for all ages for the most part. It's 102 minutes, but again, long, thought out like Disney and DreamWorks movies. I mean, movies are not long. It's the credit scenes that take up like 10, 15 minutes. So it's barely an hour and 25 to 30-minute movie. They say it's from the people that made Encanto and The Big Hero 6. So the animation kind of looks familiar. There's like cute creatures like a 3-legged dog and this little like character with the little, arms and legs like this little blue creature. And yeah, so it's basically, they're supposedly in this world. And Jake Gyllenhaal, when he's a teenager, his father's this famous explorer, but says, I want to continue to explore. But he discovers something and when he discovers something that changes everything in the landscape. And the whole civilization is thankful for him, but he just wants to be a farmer. He wants to be left alone. And something's wrong with the thing he discovered that's like the energy source or whatever. And Lucy Liu asked him for help. And of course Dennis Quaid's character wasn't last to be seen. So it's like an adventure, like survival movie in a way. Understanding and learning other people. And it's very 2023 woke. So it's not just they have a biracial son. He's gay also. And he doesn't really know how to tell his father that he doesn't want to be a farmer. Like the father didn't want to be an explorer. So it's all about like listening to your children. They may not want to follow in the exact same footsteps as you. Which a lot of parents can hear that sometimes their kid needs to make their own decisions and make their own mistakes. You just gotta be there to support them. And yeah, when it's Dennis Quaid, Lucy Liu, Gabrielle Union, and Jake Gyllenhaal, it's not a bad voice cast for a movie. It was just a little bit too sciencey for a 30-year-old man who's about to be 31. God, I'm that old. But, so yeah, so it's just like a little bit too sciencey about like stuff. So maybe I thought that was probably the only critique. It's not the worst Disney movie, but again, I don't think many Disney movies are that bad that I'm never going to see them again. Now, some sequels and trequels and the fourth movies and franchises, that's another story. Then I watched the movie Plane with Gerard Butler and Mike Colter, and that's a typical like action adventure film where it's about 141 minutes before credits, because I just watched it, where Gerard Butler usually is the guy protecting the president, or he's a killer. He's like in 300, like he's like a soldier or a Greek soldier, Roman soldier, whatever. He's got the military ops experience from his past. No, what it is, he's just a pilot who's very good at his job, but due to some past struggles and his past transgressions as a pilot, he's on the crappy route. And everyone's on New Year, so there's no one on the plane. And you would think the movie's about him saving his passengers from a lightning strike, but through a storm. But no, the movie's about him not just landing the plane, but they land on this war-torn island, and he's got to, and that's only where it begins. Like, they got to survive, and there's these, militia people out there trying to kidnap them. So it's also, not just escaping the island. You got to stay prisoner. The FBI is transporting a bad guy who turned out to have military experience before. And so Gerard Butler has to lean on him to help him call for help him save the passengers and all this other stuff. So it's like a Mike Colter, Gerard Butler duo action-adventure movie. Mike Colter was just playing Luke Cage a few years back. So it's like good timing for the two of them to be in this action movie. And it's not too long of a movie of Gerard Butler, again, trying to save the day. So I think for watching 6 movies this week, I lucked out. I didn't watch any really horrible movies. I feel like I'm still going to tell you this. The Scooby-Doo and Crypto movie was the best because it's a combination of DC, Scooby-Doo, and cartoon, and not too long. The Man from Toronto was well put together and funny and had enough action, even though I just don't like Woody Harrelson. It made me like him in this movie. And then, of course, Monster High, as I watch all movies. I don't care about what their age group is. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a little too woke. Same thing with Strange World. But again, Disney really is not making bad movies. And Plane was really good. It's a good adventure movie. The only movie I think that I would not say to watch is Whitney Houston. If you're not fully prepared to sit through a 2-hour and 24-minute movie about a whole entire life story, and there's just parts of it you just may not care. But then again, it all depends on what you like. Thanks again for listening to episode 179 of Movie Brews and Observations. For On the Internet Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.